McWhorter Custom Rifles presents.
Boy, I love these 7 PRCs and these Hornady bullets. Welcome back, folks. This week, our partners at ADG Brass are headed to hunt with Dane Drake in northwestern Oklahoma on a post-rut whitetail hunt. They got the McWhorters on board. You don't want to miss this.
Precision Hunting TV is brought to you by McWhorter Custom Rifles, Zeiss Hunting, Forge Carbon Stocks, Hornady Ammunition, Atlas Development Group, and Great Horizon Ranch.
So our good partners at ADG Brass had kind of been watching the show, and they had seen us hunting in Oklahoma with our good friend Dane Drake, Legends of the Cimarron Outfitters. So they decided to send a couple of their key people out there. They still had a couple of our McWhorters, so they sent Chris Ordway and Kevin Blanford on their way to North Oklahoma to hunt with our good friend Dane. So Dane's a big cattle rancher out there. He does some auctions, but he really loves the outfitting. He's got over 100,000 acres of some of the finest whitetail ground in northwest Oklahoma. A lot of it runs up and down the river, thus the name, Legends of Cimarron Outfitters, one of the best whitetail destinations in the country.
My name's Kevin Blanford. I'm Vice President of Industrial Design with ADG and one of the owners. So we do everything from taking out the trash to handling customers' orders to designing products for firearm and ammunition products for our customers. So watching some of the videos of Alan and Denise out here hunting and some of the trophies that they've managed to harvest, really set your expectations high, get you really excited. Of course, you don't necessarily expect to kill the exact same quality as what they have managed to do out here and do so well. But just the opportunity, and there's a chance for it because the property has produced such good deer.
I'm Chris Ordway. I'm a member of the ownership team and Vice President and General Manager of the Rifle Cartridge Business Unit of ADG Premium Shooting Products. Much like Kevin, this is my first time of being able to travel to Oklahoma and to have an opportunity to hunt whitetail deer in topography and terrain that is dissimilar to the knobs and the hollers of central Kentucky. So we were excited to get out here. Once we did, when we got past the 14-hour drive from Elizabethtown and got in here on the first landing and the sun was up, being able to see and survey the hillsides and such, just again piqued our excitement about what was to come. Kevin and I will both be using PRC cartridge brass and caliber. I'll be shooting a 6.5 PRC McWhorter rifle. Kevin will be using a 7 PRC. This particular caliber is just a workhorse for big game and is a no-brainer again for whitetail deer, for mule deer known in this area. So we look forward to also using these rifles that Alan and his team have provided and produced for us as well.
Well, first time in Oklahoma hunting whitetail, so I'm pretty excited. We're gonna go get after them. All right. So it's opening morning, the sun's just starting to break. Weather's a little warm, but the wind is really calm, especially for Oklahoma. So I think we're staged for some good action today. So it's a little slow. We've had a few does, some spikes. And then about an hour and a half in, we had a big bruiser walk in. He'd been wrestling with some other bucks because about 3/4 of his left side was missing, but he was a good, mature bodied deer.
This segment is brought to you by Board & Accuracy, makers of the most accurate custom hunting actions on the market. Manufactured in the USA to true bench rest tolerances. Board & Accuracy equals success.
It's opening morning, and we have been excitedly watching and have been enjoying a show. A lot of young bucks, I would say maybe certainly 2, maybe 3-year-old young bucks that were really rustling around in the bushes. A lot of doe down on the field, and we think that most likely there was a pretty hot doe that they were excited about, and we watched that activity, had a lot of action going through the course of the day.
So this evening we had several deer come in, one little 3-year-old with a split G2, not exactly the caliber we were looking for. And then right before dusk, we had a nice, what we think was a 10-pointer, but we think it had a broken right brow tine. He didn't give us a lot of opportunity to examine him. He only stuck his nose out of the brush for a bit, and then quickly retreated before we could really get on him.
All right, day 2 arrives. A little bit warmer morning, and we're in the blind. Again, we've got a lot of doe down on the pile, and we watch a little 4-point, very young buck, and then we see this promising buck that comes in. He's an 8-point that rolls in, really long brow tines. Being in Kentucky, not used to having the particular quality of deer here, I got really excited about this deer, and considering it was just day 2, it was hard not to get on the trigger, but I did make a decision to let this particular buck walk. Wanted to see if I could get lucky and maybe roll the dice on a little bit more matured buck coming in, as we were still on the front end of our hunt. So we decided to nickname this buck Lucky.
So it's the next day, and then first deer in is the deer we saw the night before right at dusk. And we finally get a chance to look him over. Really good looking deer. Like I said, broken right brow. We watched him for, my goodness, probably 10 minutes. But we decided to let him walk just because of what we know this property has produced, in hopes that we might see his big brother step up.
Well, we had a lot of activity early this morning. But for the last couple hours, we've seen almost nothing other than some chicken hawks. So.
So last day of the hunt, the morning has opened up really strong. We've had 2 little bucks come in, kind of sparring with one another. All of a sudden, we had a real nice 8-pointer kind of sneak in on us. Kind of had to make a decision in the moment.
Good buck. Good buck up on the right.
And he turned just in time before going into the brush.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by McWhorter True Precision Long Range Hunting and Shooting School, Leo Photo USA, Brux Barrels, Trigger Tech, Hawkins Precision, and Borden Accuracy.
They just doubled over. McWhorter rifle and ADG brass just did the job. He's a good old deer.
And kind of out of nowhere, this guy was coming from our left. He just kind of appeared out of the brush, and he was moving at a pretty good click. But just kind of made a decision in the moment. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of time to decide. So I'm happy I pulled the trigger. He's a good deer. I'm sure he's not the biggest that's ever been on this property, but I'm real happy with it. Good deer.
Welcome back, folks. Today we're going to talk about how to choose a proper hunting cartridge.
So I call up to McWhorter Custom Rifles and I want a custom build.
Right.
What's the first thing you're going to need from me?
We're going to need your credit card and your CV number.
That's so we'll definitely do that. I'm also going to hide it from my wife. But besides that,
First thing we're going to ask you is what kind of game that you're going to hunt predominantly, and what kind of distances do you think you're going to be wanting to shoot at?
so I'm going to tell you that I'm hunting 80% whitetail and 20% elk out west. So
Okay.
I feel comfortable shooting 800 to 1,000 yards.
Okay, so the cartridges that we sell, a whole lot of them, starting from this side, that's 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 PRC, the 7.65 PRC, 7.300 PRC, and 300 PRC.
Okay.
So if you're going to tell me that you're 80% whitetail and
20%
elk, then the smallest I'm going to recommend is this 6.5 PRC, because it'll shoot a 143 grain bullet, 3150 depending on your barrel length. It's got over 1,000 foot-pounds out to 1,000 yards. That's plenty for elk at reasonable distances, and perfect for whitetail, antelope, and everything else.
Okay. Well, I just want a slightly bigger cartridge, so I want to get a slightly bigger. You mentioned something about that 7.65. Talk to me
Okay,
about
so
that.
if you tell me you're going to do the same hunt and maybe a little more elk, and you also tell me, look, I'm going to be hunting out west, a lot of my shots are going to be 500 plus yards, then I might say, well, let's step up to the 7s. This 7.65 PRC, it'll shoot 175 or 180 grain Hornady in the neighborhood of 2,950 feet a second.
Wow.
It's got 1,300 foot-pounds of energy out to 1,000 yards, and it's just got a little more bullet. So you got a little more energy at longer ranges.
Okay, awesome.
If you tell me that you call and you say, look, I'm gonna hunt elk all the time, occasionally I'm gonna shoot a whitetail, then I'm gonna start with this 7.300 PRC, which shoots 180 grain projectile, 3,200 feet a second, and possibly even recommend a 30 caliber, this 300 PRC, which shoots a 212 or a 225 in that 2,900, 2,950 range. All right, that's how we would choose a cartridge. Give us a call if we can help you, and that's our tip of the week, brought to you by Alan and John and McWhorter Custom Rifles.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by Armageddon Gear, Mesquite Creek Taxidermy, Hell's Canyon Barrels, Gun Foam, Boyd Harness Company, and metal spinning targets. This segment is brought to you by Atlas Development Group, makers of the finest premium rifle cartridge cases on the market, proudly made in the USA. Our stringent manufacturing process and raw materials yield superior results.
So the morning gets a little slow. Wind continues to blow. The temperature really doesn't warm up as the sun continues to make its way up. And then we hear a gunshot to our right in the direction of where Kevin and his cameraman are set up. So we're just kind of on edge, wondering what Kevin may have harvested. And as we're waiting for any kind of word either from his cameraman or from our guide Trevor, lo and behold, about 400 yards on a food plot to our left comes a nice looking buck, and he's coming right down the draw path toward the cornfield.
Awesome. Great shot. Boom. Okay. What a waiting game this morning.
Oh man. Ah, that's awesome. Great morning here in extreme northwest Oklahoma. Legends of the Cimarron Outfitters. We've been here for several days watching a lot of whitetail, watching muley, doe, and this bruiser came in. The McWhorter Custom 6.5 PRC with a Zeiss optic, board and action using ADG premium cartridge brass and a 143 ELDX. Put the hammer on this guy. He didn't take too many strides before landing in the deadfall here. Great, great trip, great hunt.
Turns out it was about 20-30 minutes after I shot my deer. Chris had a nice buck walking on him, and he dropped his as well. So again, we run over there to see what they got and help them load up, of course. And then when we get there, as soon as I look at the deer, I notice it has a broken right brow tine, and really solid deer, really nice deer. Looked a whole lot like the deer that I had seen on the first night and the second morning, because it was. So Chris had shot my deer. Now, in the back of the truck, Chris noticed that we also had a deer, and him and Kate went over and noticed that deer looked mighty familiar. So that was lucky that they had been watching for this trip. So he was a little more unlucky now, but as it turned out, I shot his deer and he shot mine. So we had Kentucky tag team on these two bucks.
The entire trip has been great. You know, I guess there are two really good things that I look forward to again. An opportunity of coming to Oklahoma, a state that I had never visited before, but also being able to make this trip with Kevin Blanford, one of my teammates. I look forward to that as well. It was an opportunity for he and I to have fellowship with one another and to go back and to tell the story again with our team.
Congratulations to Chris and Kevin. Dane's saving you a spot for this year. I know you can't wait.